Okay, so get ready for this. Today we are diving deep into someone's career, and it's anything but predictable. We're talking architecture, fashion, and now get this, education.
Sounds intriguing. I love when people go their own way.
Right. So, let's meet Yoon Gi-hoon. He lives and works in Seoul, South Korea. And he started out in architecture. He actually began 2 different architectural engineering degrees in Korea and the US. But here's the thing. He didn't finish either of them.
Whoa, really? A twist already. Makes you wonder what happened. Makes you wonder, what skills did he take from architecture to fashion?
Yeah, like are those 2 worlds even connected?
Usually you wouldn't think so, no.
But maybe there's more to it than we think. Maybe it's like having a sense of design or being okay with taking risks and trying new things.
Yeah, I see that. And maybe all that experience in fashion, it changes so fast. Maybe that's what got him ready for what he's doing now.
Oh, definitely. Because now he's a co-founder of an organization called Yoon 21, all about education.
So we have an architect turned fashion guy who now is an education expert. What's the story there?
Yeah, there's definitely a connection somewhere. And it's not just one kind of education either. Yoon designs and leads programs for students, he does teacher training, and even coaches parents.
Wow, that's a lot of different things. He must be really passionate about learning in all its forms.
Totally. And he's all about self-directed learning. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, it's where students have more control over what and how they learn, right?
Right. It's a pretty big deal, but not always easy to do well.
For sure. So how does he pull it off?
Well, he uses data, for one thing, test scores, what students like to learn, even things like personality. He designs a learning plan that fits each student.
That's incredible. It's like personalized learning taken to the next level.
Exactly. Now, remember how we said he started those architecture degrees but didn't finish? Some people might see that as, like, a failure, but he turned it into a strength. He's written 3 books. One is called The Perfect Career Study Method for Teenagers.
That's interesting. He took his own experience and made it into something to help young people.
Exactly. And he's not just writing about it either. He's given over 500 lectures at schools all over Korea. Plus, he's spoken at universities and even to government officials.
Wow, that's impressive. Sounds like he's really making a difference.
Absolutely. So, to understand his approach, we need to look at his key competencies. In his resume, he says he's a career education expert who helps students grow with data and sincerity.
I like that. It's about using data, but also about really caring about the students.
Yeah, I see that too. It's not just what you learn, right? It's how you learn and how you can use that knowledge to live a good life. And this is connecting with a lot of people in South Korea. But what can Bobby Wee learn from Yoon's story? You listening? What do you think?
That's a good question. I think it shows us that it's okay to have a different kind of career, to be curious and try new things.
Right. It's about the whole journey, even the unexpected parts.
Totally. And it's never too late to learn something new, to try something new.
I love that. It's like Yoon showing us that learning never stops, it's always happening. But we need to dig deeper into how this self-directed learning actually works.
Yeah, let's get into the details of how he makes it happen. It's interesting. I'm thinking about his background in fashion, that clothing business. Could that have something to do with how he approaches education?
Oh, interesting. I don't see the connection right away, but tell me more.
Well, in fashion, you have to really understand what people want. You have to know what's trending, what people like, and it's always changing. Maybe he's using those same ideas in education.
Like figuring out what skills students need now to, succeed in the future.
Exactly. It's like market research, but for education.
So he's finding out what skills are in demand, and then he designs learning experiences that teach those skills.
Right. And just like a fashion designer makes clothes that are stylish and useful, Yoon is making learning experiences that are engaging and effective.
That's a good way to think about it. Like he's creating a whole set of learning tools and strategies, personalized for each student.
Yes. And don't forget communication. In fashion, you're always talking to people. Suppliers, manufacturers, customers. Maybe that helped Yoon learn to connect with different groups of people.
Students, parents, teachers. Yeah, that makes sense. Being able to communicate well is so important, especially in education.
It is. And think about how fast things change in the fashion world. You have to be adaptable, think on your feet.
Those are definitely useful skills in education too.
For sure. Things are always changing in education as well.
It's like he took that entrepreneur spirit and brought it into the classroom.
Exactly. Which brings us back to his book, The Perfect Career Study Method for Teenagers.
Oh yeah, that one. It's all about helping teens find what they're passionate about. explore careers, make a plan for their future. People seem to really like it. It's practical and relatable.
I bet his own experience is a big part of that. He's a good example of how it's okay to try different things.
It's like he's saying, look, I didn't follow the usual path, and it worked out.
Right. And he's done all those lectures too, so clearly his message is connecting with people.
Definitely. He's not just talking about it, he's living it.
Exactly. And that makes a difference.
It does. It's one thing to tell someone to follow their dreams. It's another thing to show them that it's possible.
That's true. And he's not just working with students either. He's training teachers and coaching parents too.
He sees the bigger picture. It takes everyone working together to support learning.
Absolutely. And he's using data to help with that too.
So it's not just based on gut feelings, it's about what actually works.
Right. It's about using data to make learning better.
Okay, so we've talked about what he's doing, but how is he actually doing it? How does he use data to make students into self-directed learners?
That's the big question, and we're going to answer it in the next part of our deep dive. We'll look at the tools he uses, the role of technology, and what it all means for the future of education.
All right, so we know Yoon Ga-hoon is really changing things up in education. We've talked about his unique career, his focus on self-directed learning, and how he uses data to make learning personal. But let's get into the details. How does this all actually work?
Well, one big thing is assessment. You're going to create a learning plan that's just right for each student. You got to know what they're good at, what they struggle with, what they like.
Makes sense.
Right. It's like if you go to a tailor for a custom suit, they can take your measurements first.
Exactly.
So Yoon has all these different assessment tools. Like there's one for figuring out how someone learns best on their own. There are tests to see what kind of careers they might be good at. And he uses those to get a lot of information about each student.
So he's not just looking at grades and test scores.
Nope. It's about the whole student. Personality, learning style, what they're interested in, even what kind of job they want someday.
Okay, so he has all this data. What does he do with it?
That's where his data analysis skills come in. He uses special computer programs and charts to find patterns in the data. It's like creating a picture of each student, showing their strengths, weaknesses, and where they need help.
So each student gets a kind of personalized guide.
Yeah, exactly. A roadmap just for them.
And this can work for any subject, right?
Yep. Math, history, even things like computer programming.
And it doesn't matter if it's a regular classroom or online learning.
Right. The ideas behind it can work anywhere.
This is really amazing.
It is. He's not just helping students get good grades. He's helping them become lifelong learners, giving them the skills to succeed in a world that's always changing.
So it's about more than just school. It's about life, really.
That's it. It's about critical thinking, solving problems, working with others, communicating well.
All those things that are important no matter what you do.
Exactly. And remember, he's not just working one-on-one. He's giving those lectures, talking to teachers and parents.
Yeah, why is that so important?
Well, he's really passionate about changing how we think about education. He doesn't want to keep these ideas to himself. He wants everyone to know about them.
So he's trying to influence how education works on a bigger level.
That's right. He's spreading the word, getting people excited about new ways of learning.
It's almost like he's starting a movement.
Yeah, I see that. And his background as an entrepreneur helps. He knows how to get people's attention, how to get them on board.
Right. He's using those skills to make a real difference.
He is. It's pretty inspiring.
So we've learned so much about Yoon Ga-hoon. What are the biggest things we should take away from this?
Well, one thing is that it's okay to be different, to do your own thing, even if it's not what everyone else is doing.
Right. You don't have to follow the crowd.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And never stop learning. Learning isn't just for school, it's for life.
I love that. Always be curious, try new things, keep growing.
And I think we can learn from how Yoon is using new ideas to solve problems. He's showing us that even in something like education, there's always room for change and improvement.
It's like he's saying, don't be afraid to challenge the way things are, right?
Exactly. Think outside the box.
Well, that's Yoon Ga-hoon. From architecture to fashion to becoming a real leader in education.
He's shown us a whole new way of thinking about learning. More personal, more engaging, and really more effective.